welcome to our bi-weekly Top 20 video game music show with tracks chosen by you. This is from Cuphead, the DLC, The Delicious Last Course. Chosen by ChiptuneBrony. This week's theme is the best music of 2022.
Chalice make a deed as a team adventuring to help make chalice sweet. It's a delicious last course, oh the delicious last course. One can eat their fill and still stay until the delicious last course. It's the delicious last course. Oh, that delicious last course. There's tarts, cakes, and pies, a dozen scones, oh my, for that delicious last course. Oh, Miss Chalice just wants to be just as real can be. With a wonder tart, she can then take heart us all to the bakery. Chef Salt Baker has a plan, the best tart maker in the land. If they're expedient with the ingredients, then he might just lend a hand. With that delicious last course, oh that delicious last course. If there's a single meal to help make chalice real, it's a delicious last course. Oh the delicious last course, oh the delicious last course. Such a gallant heart to make the wonder tart for the delicious last course. Using recipes to get necessities for the delicious last course. We can make it a song as long as nothing goes wrong. With that delicious last course.
So I would assume that, just the way that it kind of has those like cinematic little stops here and there, that maybe this is set to some kind of like a cutscene or something. But I think it does a good job of combining that old-timey Americana swing, the New Orleans style with like the big wind instruments, the way they all do the solos at the end. Like I feel like I mention every week. And a little more cinematic. I think a little bit more movie-like with some of the way that like the strings come in, because normally they have a lot of this big choir stuff, sort of like a quartet, a cappella group, barbershop style, but with the big flowing Hollywood strings. A nice royal introduction, a welcome back to the Cuphead world. Could be a Christmas song in the beginning. Yeah, definitely. We could have played this a couple of weeks ago. A nice track. Well, that one was composed by Kristofer Maddigan, and this is available on the Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam. Thanks, ChiptuneBrony, for bringing that to us. Well, 2022, yet another year full of remakes, remasters, nostalgia. From TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. This track is Meltdown, composed by T. Lopes, or T. Lopez? T. Lopez? I don't know. Chosen by Claudio. Man, that was awesome. You know, just for, like, hearing the opening notes to it, I thought, this kind of sounds a bit lame. It's got just kind of like pretty straight ahead and like crunchy guitar. It's like, But then the synths sneak in with those bells. And then the really nice, light, funky guitar comes in, that like slapping snare, big, heavy synths. Really just like a very lush synth. It's got a very rockin' energy to it. The melody is so fun, but it sounds like a solo. More 80s than 90s, I guess, if they're trying to invoke like music from the time of when the Ninja Turtles, when say like the arcade game was really popular. But I believe that came out in probably more like early 90s, closer to mid 90s. I guess you could fit it in that time. Kind of sounds like it could be on like Streets of Rage, or it definitely has that Japanese jazz fusion feel to it. It's really, really nice. This music is so good. And actually, looking at the video of this gameplay, I think I actually like the style that did it. It looks more like a real kind of pixel art as opposed to, you know, just when they try to like cheap out on the 2D art. It's the same composer of the new Streets of Rage and Sonic Mania, right? Yeah, I thought I recognized that name. This is awesome and makes me definitely want to check this out. I would like to hear this song played on maybe like an FM synth of the Genesis, but I also like just the lush sounds that he's getting, so I'm pretty happy with what he landed on here. All right, next up, Leenat returns. This time he has chosen a track from Neon White. This is Cloud 9, composed by Machine Girl. Another one that starts off kind of quite slow and then just kicks it into gear. It's got these really sort of like slippery, hyper drums that really fits the gameplay, because in the gameplay you're trying to complete these levels as fast as possible. And there's so much chaos around you while you're trying to be extremely quick, but also very precise. And I think the way this music is going with the drums, kind of like the way that they kind of almost sound like they're getting ahead of themselves and then kind of falling back. There's that push and pull, sort of like that, like you'd mentioned in the chat, sort of like a rave sound or like a UK garage sound. Pretty badass. Hey, next up from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is Consul theme / Mobius, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, Ace, Kenji Hiramatsu, Manami Kiyota, Mariam Abounnasr, and chosen by xenmas, or xenmas. Wait, are they saying fucking at the beginning? Like when you think you've beat the boss and you've used up all your items, and then it comes back for a second phase, and you're like, You know what? That song normally sounds like it should suck or should be kind of a bit lame, you know? It's does like the big JRPG thing of having like everything being very epic and having a hybrid orchestra with a rock sound, choirs, like you said, you know, doing some Latin just to make it sound big. But I think that there's enough interesting writing in it, not to mention what sounds like fun performance, maybe live performance, just really fun the way that they sequenced it with the drums, the bass, the choir, some violin, and there's like a really cool kind of solo instrument that just pops in for a little bit, that weird guitar with a tremolo on it, kind of like sounds like a crazy laser beam. It really rises above the tropes of what it should be. Yeah, there's a lot of, like Claudio says, there's a lot of unexpected turns the song takes that really elevate it. Hello, Steve. Welcome. From Chained Echoes. This is the Sunken City of Nhysa, Nhysa, composed by Eddie, old Eddie Marianukroh, chosen by Rudi. Didn't have much luck pronouncing any of that. Ghosts? Wow. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Rudi. It's got sort of like an otherworldly. It almost sounds like, kind of sounds like music from the new Dune movie, the Hans Zimmer stuff, just with those kind of like lots of low, almost sounds like a really, really low choir voice and that bit of like an Eastern flair to it or like an Arabic flair to it. It's got, there's a lot of nice ambient tension, a lot of dread in those sustained low notes, and then some hopeful little synth arpeggios. It's a nice mix. It knows when to bring things in and bring them out just to provide enough interest in an ambient track like this. Okay, our next selection is from Mario and Rabbids, Sparks of Hope. This track is called Paean, P-A-E-A-N, to Palette Prime. And the composers on this soundtrack are the great Grant Kirkhope, Yoko Shimomura, and Gareth Coker. So I'm not sure who did this track, but it was chosen by Longbow. That's fun. Let's try to guess by the sound. Kirkhope and Yoko Shimomura have very, very different styles. Or maybe it'll end up being a Gareth Coker song. We don't know. Well, Rudi had written the answer, and I didn't see it actually, so I was still intrigued, and then looked it up, and yeah, it was indeed Grant Kirkhope track. I think it's got his kind of funky, quirky, cartoony, really sort of animated, fun, just like very expressive style. He likes to choose these sort of funny instruments, like, I don't know what that is, like an oboe or a clarinet, that kind of you can imagine like a duck or something doing it, you know, or like some kind of mascot from a 90s game. It did have a bit of a Mario RPG feel in the beginning, where that's probably one of her most like playful, funny, most Grant Kirkhope like tracks. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. He does have kind of a family vibe to it. It's not scary. It's very pleasant. He likes to use these like a triangle or so. Those like those high notes, like kind of like tingly sounds. Ting 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 ting. Gives just kind of like a magical sparkle to it. Next up from Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak. This is the Archdemon of the Abyss, Gaze Magorm, composed by Satoshi Hori and chosen by our big boss man Steve. Wow. Well, it does what a lot of these games do for boss battles. You get some rock organ in there, or actually more like a church organ. You got big heavy drums, you've got some choir. But I think they do a pretty nice job of not overdoing it with each element or having too much at one time, and knowing when to keep it a bit sparse, when to back off. I really enjoyed that kind of light section. It does have like a real kind of menacing feel to it. They use like a triplet rhythm in the bum 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 dum dum before kind of straightening out in the beginning of it, which gives it this kind of just like an awkward feel to the rhythm, where you're like, you keep kind of guessing. It's not just giving it to you straight. It's not a straight ahead, lots of energy type track. It's more like adjusting to a boss and their different gameplay and knowing when you need to push forward and when to pull back. I think it works really well, so just switching up the rhythm that way. Yeah, menacing and strategic feeling for sure. All right, we're on to everybody's second picks of the week. This is from Tunic. It is The Night, Lifeformed, composed by Janice Kwan. Brought to you by ChiptuneBrony, and this game's available on the Xbox, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. Really nice. It's an interesting kind of blend of electronica, some nice like organic lush sounds as well. Definitely has like a fantastic energy to it, but a real kind of like mystery and a little more depth with those reverby sounds, and the way it just kind of oscillates between those two chords. It's fun. It's got a lot of hope to it, a lot of mystery, a lot of dark and light. I love all the delay. And yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't expect this from Tunic. I thought Tunic is trying to build off of, I guess, what Zelda's done, and maybe Bastion, and maybe a little bit of Dark Souls in a way, too. Those big waves of sidechain compression. Really nice. It creates a nice world. Well, if you're wondering when we were going to get a Pokemon track, as this is the year of 2022, here it is. From Scarlet and Violet, this is East Province on Mount, composed by Minako Adachi, Junichi Mitsuda, Go Ichinose, Hiromitsu Maeba, Teruo Taniguchi, and Hitomi Sato. Chosen by Steve, answering the question of how many composers does it take to make a theme for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's a really fun track. I love that. I love that big burly bass. Yeah, it's got that nice Spanish feel. A nice folksy accordion. A little bit of Spanish guitar. It has this kind of feel of like you're exploring, you know, rolling hills. Not like huge mountains. It's not. It got like a breezy feel. You're just catching Pokemon. You're not saving the world or anything. Yeah, so I think it gives it like a fun, kind of festive, adventurous, and exotic feel. It's nice. All right, next up from what many say is the best game of 2022, Elden Ring. This is Millennia, Blade of Miquella, composed by Yuka Kitamura and chosen by leenat. Phase 2. There's definitely some melancholy there in this theme. It's a very sparse theme. Just a little bit of timpani used for the percussion. Some that ominous kind of bell tolling. Just the strings coming in and out. The choir providing most of the noise. Most of the filler. But it looks like, at least in this track, we've reached the next phase. I don't know if there's 2 phases or 3 phases. Very beautiful, yeah. Quite sad. Big but sad. Oof. I want to hear that part again. Sounds like there's just 2 phases. That was really nice. It really built beautifully as we witnessed true horror. Similar to a lot of the whole From Software style of doing boss themes. They're big, they're epic, they're always a little bit sad. There's sort of like the weight of the world on you with all of them. But another great one. Now, for quite a change of pace, this is from Expeditions Rome. The track is Bithynia, composed by Thomas Farnon and chosen by Rudi. It's a really nice track. So this Thomas Farnon guy, pardon me, looks like he's worked on a lot of movies, actually. Looks like he worked on the Lego Batman movie. I don't know if he was just, like, working on, or if he had, you know, if he had, like, the full hand of composing it. Hacksaw Ridge. Adam Sandler movie. A couple Adam Sandler movies. Kung Fu Panda. Terminator. Wonder Woman 84? Or Wonder Woman 2018. But Hans Zimmer, didn't he work on that one? It looks like he does a lot of films. Worked on a lot of big stuff. British guy. This is a great track. Epic. Really, really fun. Lots of energy. Does feel very, very filmy. Would be great in a cutscene. Who said that? manifesting the concept of the weight of your choices. I like how Steve put that. All right, another strategy game coming at you from Square. This is Triangle Strategy. Crimson Might is the track, composed by Akira Senju, chosen by Claudio. Really an incredibly good track. So this is another guy who actually does most of his work in film, television, anime. He had only really done, I think, one video game before this. No, he'd done a few video games before this. Back in 2009, he did Full Metal Alchemist, but he had also done the soundtrack for that anime. I believe it's an anime. For the games Full Metal Alchemist, Prince of the Dawn, and Daughter of the Dusk, and he did Fighting Illusion K1 Grand Prix way back in 1996. So, I mean, this guy likes to, he's working in the big time. I wonder how different it is to write for video games. It must feel like you have a lot of freedom, because when you're composing for a film, or a TV show, I mean, it's just like, not every second is planned out, like every millisecond, every frame. If you have 24 frames per second, you're chopping that thing up. You need to put this cue here, and there's a lot of kind of like stops and starts as you bring in music to kind of signify what people said, and then you're kind of getting out of the way of the dialogue. So with a video game, you really are given quite a lot of leeway. See, this is interesting. So, he worked on Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, and then the video game for that anime. In 2009, he did Tales of Vesperia, The First Strike, which was a film music animation he did. So he's done, like, animated versions of video games, too, as well. Pretty crazy. That was one of my favorite tracks of this week. What a surprise that was. That was nice. All right, next up. This is from Freedom Planet 2. The track is titled Gate, composed by either Sabrina Diduro, Leilani Wilson, Jason Lord, Will Bowerman, or Nicole Frisch, chosen by Longbow. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Rudi. There's a lot going on in this track. I think it just has a really nice sort of like warm, like celebratory energy, kind of like you're on a vacation in like an exotic sort of resort on the beach, but it's modern, you know. They've got all the technology you need. They've got fiber internet. There's dance parties, but it's not too wild. It's just like very, very smooth, nicely layered. Really, it has kind of like a glitzy sound to it. Like it's adventurous, but everything is very, very smooth and sort of perfect in a way. Very idealized. I really, really like the music to it. The bass, especially. Super, super deep bass, but you can still feel the movement of it. Love it. I didn't think I was going to love it when I saw the cover. Next up from Cult of the Lamb, this is Praise the Lamb, composed by River Boy, available everywhere, chosen by ChiptuneBrony. You could put this in Terraria. I love that really chopped up vocal. There's an effect on it too that gives it this sort of like otherworldly, futuristic feel. There's some really unexpected chord changes when it kind of dips down. Sounds like a super hip kind of futuristic Nintendo shopping channel or something. Like it could be the Wii shopping channel, but a little cooler. Next up, we have another track from Elden Ring. This is the theme that plays when you fight the Lich Dragon Fortisax, composed by Yoshimo Kudo, chosen by Big Boss Man Steve. minute and a half into that theme. It's funny, it seems a lot more epic than the Millennia theme, and Millennia is supposed to be the big epic boss of that game. Maybe because when the dragon appears, from what I remember, I feel like it kind of comes as a bit of a surprise. You warp into that zone and all of a sudden there's a big dragon in your face and the dragon is throwing lightning bolts at you. Just in case dragons weren't as intimidating enough. That's true, the dragon does go down pretty easily. I don't remember trying too many times to fight the dragon. You tend to remember the bosses in the Souls games that are the ones that you bang your head against the most, and I think that one was pretty powerful, or probably using the mimics pretty well at that point. It does have a lot of drama in it, and the game has a lot of different levels of drama. Fantastic game. Definitely game of the year. Next up, we got a track from old Bayonetta 3. This is Moonlight Serenade, composed by Naofumi Harada and chosen by Big Fat leenat, who is not fat. All right, let's try that again. That's a pretty wild theme. I think it does a great job of matching what Bayonetta is all about. I mean, Bayonetta is an action game. It's very, very over the top. Requires a lot of skill. There's a lot of flair to it. And this music is the same. It takes a lot of skill to play like this, and it's very over the top, but it has like a kind of a glamour and a glitz to it as well, because, you know, Bayonetta's not like some dirty demon hunter. She's, well, she loves her outfits, and she likes looking good, and she likes looking spotless. I like the big giant chord leaps, the modulations. The bass and drums are really, really active. A lot of different rhythm changes. Just fits the Bayonetta style perfectly. All right, we've got 3 more tracks for you. This one's from River City Girls 2. This is Vibe and Grime, composed by Megan McDuffie and chosen by Rudi. Pretty badass. This is another composer that has their hands working in TV and movies and corporate stuff. Really all over the place. Let's take a look at her website, and it's pretty impressive amount of accomplishments she has every year. But in terms of just this song, I think it just really hits hard. I love the rhythm. And just the way she knows how to use those retro synths. And she just leaves so much space. Those nice big stabs. She pulls out. She's not just hitting you over the head with too much. You know, she knows what she has that is fantastic, and knows how to give it enough room to breathe. And then when you relax, the first half of the song, you can do full of gear here. I like that modulation to that major that happened right there. Instead of in the minor. Awesome. I love this. Madden's one of my favorites. Okay, 2 more tracks for you. This is another one from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is Wild Battle in the South Province, composed by the Pokemon team. Also, Toby Fox has a credit on this soundtrack as well, chosen by Claudio. That is some pretty fucking wild slap bass. I mean, that is crazy. Something like that where the rest of the track could be, you know, a lot of sequence stuff and, you know, fake instruments. But if you have that bass performance, which to me sounds pretty real and performed, it might be also done with a synth, but it sounds pretty real to me. And it gives it enough energy. It's like draws your attention enough and stands out enough that you don't notice too much of the faker instruments all around it. But it's pretty weird. It's like this kind of, again, it's another kind of like glitzy, glamorous track, like something you hear in Vegas, you know? Like there's a big band behind it with, for some reason, a solo bassist. But it's got that kind of high-end casino Las Vegas feel, like even though there's a bit of kind of menacing, it's done in like a gotcha kind of way with a bit of a wink. Our last track of this week is from Cultic. This is the Rock House Showdown, composed by Jason Smith and chosen by Longbow. Nice one. I like those, that kind of like military snare. It's got, you know, it almost kind of sounds like if Metroid Prime was on Earth instead of wherever the hell Metroid takes place. Some more crazy bass, all distorted. Alright, well, if you'd like to participate in the show, if you're watching this on YouTube, you just need to join our Discord. There should be a link in the description of this video. If there's not, leave a comment and I'll hand deliver a Discord invite to you. And you can join. You can help choose what themes we do. You can help choose the tracks. So, thanks to everybody who participated in this one. Like ChiptuneBrony, Claudio, Leenat, Xenmas, Rudi, Longbow, and of course Big Boss Man Steve. If you're watching on YouTube, the video is going to end right now.